Hello everyone, in this video I'll be showing you a build guide for the Invoker Class Mod made by Flare76 here in the in-game Baldur's Gate 3 mod manager, now available on console as well. What I like most about this is it blends being a melee and a spellcaster together. You get a lot of different cantrips and spells. You don't actually cast spells from spell slots, which I think is a nice change. It is a little bit different, and I think it works for this because this is more of like a support class. I really like the different cantrips here. Like you can apply dazed on the target, which then sets up your cleric or your paladin to be able to apply command and hold person. So it plays nice with a lot of the base game Baldur's Gate 3 classes, but it also works with other mod classes. Now, at level 1 here, you get to choose between two different cantrips. I like the Howling Spirits. It says a 6-meter cone. There's not a lot of really great necrotic damage spells out there, but we want to have one that's going to apply daze. The Cacophony here also does that, inflicting daze for one target, and then there's also the Raging Storm, which unleashes a straight line, which will do the dazed on the target. You can also take this, which will apply Bane to seize Destiny, and you can knock targets prone, slow targets, which is also pretty nice with the Mind Crush, make them bleed. So if you have a Barbarian, you can set them up. Radiating Orbs, Nauseous Fumes, Poison targets, Frostbite, Prone. You got so many great options here, and I think it's really fun. I'm going to go with the first two choices, Mind Crush and Cacophony there. And for our ability scores, now this is intelligence-based, but we also want to have a good dexterity score as well, and I would recommend going with at least 14 Constitution, so a stat spread of something like this can work, or like this, so 16 Dex, 16 Intelligence. Level 2 comes with 3 choices of subclasses. So you have the Invocation of Speed, which will increase your movement speed and give you a bonus action Disengage. There's the Power, which gives you the Shove Down, and the Mind, which gives you the Superior Mind, which inflicts the target with mental fatigue for one turn whenever they fail a saving throw, giving them -1 to their Intelligence, Wisdom, and Charisma saving throws. The Speed also gets the Evasion feat from the Rogue and Monk, which allows you to take half spell damage or no spell damage if you succeed the saving throw. There's also the Power, giving medium armor proficiency. That's, I guess, the big focus here if you want to be really tanky. And then with the Invocation of Mind, at later levels you get spell resistance. You can cast Hypnotic Pattern at level 6. Speed also gets access to haste at level 6, but I'm going to go with the Invocation of Power. I like the Shove, but also getting medium armor proficiency is nice. You could take whichever one of these sounds most interesting to you. You can see the full abilities listed out right here, so you can pause this if you want to read the different abilities from each level. And once we hit level 3, we get to choose another cantrip here. I just like lightning damage, so I'm going to take the Lightning Raging Storm there. But you can also take Winter Breath to be able to frostbite targets. Having Prone is a really nice ability too, and the Chain of Thorns can hamstrung opponents, which will reduce their movement speed, which can be pretty useful too. Level 4 gives us our first feat, and I would recommend the Alert feat. That's just always a good choice, especially being able to get into combat and set up your teammates and be able to go first. So level 5, we just get to swap out a spell if we wanted to. This will be going to level 20, but we can stay at level 12 too if you prefer. Level 6 gives us our special spell from our subclass here with Slow. This is just a good spell to have for overall support. Level 7 gives us the Cataclysm, 44 of force and fire damage, and can stun targets for one turn. So that can be really good if you stun a target, takes them out of the fight pretty much for a whole turn there. The Consuming Void is quite nice too, being able to blind targets. I find that if you have a specific build that you want for your team, you can choose different options there. I just like having one or two options to be able to daze the target. Now we can boost up our intelligence or our dexterity, and I actually prefer dexterity here since we get medium armor proficiency. It's good to stay alive and avoid attacks. We can kind of fill a variety of different roles for the team. Level 9 gives us our Invoke Resistance Aura. Choose a damage take and create an aura that grants you and nearby allies resistance to it, and you can pick a new one as a bonus action. So that's really good. Obviously in certain fights, like if you're at the House of Hope, putting on fire resistance, pretty useful. Level 10 gives us our subclass feature Empowered Evocation. You can add your intelligence modifier to damage rolls with any of our evocation spells. Pretty nice. We can get our intelligence up a little bit higher. I just found that going with higher dexterity is just a little bit better in the long term. We're starting to get better damage on these, so we'll take the Avalanche here, which can knock targets prone. This is great if you have a rogue on the team, set up their sneak attacks. Level 12, which can be the final level for some people. You can go with either an intelligence boost or dexterity here. Dexterity just gives you better armor class and initiative, so we go first and we survive attacks. I'll be taking this to level 20, although you don't have to. It does have some extra abilities that you get at higher levels, like level 14 as a Planar Calling. Call forth an enemy or an ally from another plane. Your specialization invocation determines the type of the ally summoned. So we got our Planar ally Cambion here. The Speed one gets the Genie, and the Mind gets the Deva. The Genie being the best summon, so the Speed one does get a nice benefit there. Now, we got a lot of options here. This really comes down to what you want. I like this ability to knock prone for up to 3 turns with Overpower is kind of crazy, so I'm going to grab that there with the force damage not being highly resisted in the game. Level 16 just gives us another feat here, and at this point, I guess we can go with an increase to our intelligence just for better spell casting. Warcaster, another choice, and the tough feat for the plus 40 extra health once we hit level 20 could be nice too. Level 18 adds a class feature Sculpt spells, which basically saves, similar to the Evocation wizard, you don't hit your teammates with your spells. Level 19 gives us our last increase to our intelligence there. We can round it off of 20 dex, 20 intelligence. And then level 20 just gives us some extra health. Again, you can take the tough feat if you want more health, because it'll give you 40. And I'm wearing the Kiss of the Scourge outfit there. That's the mod. So this race doesn't give you any weapon proficiencies, so you got to get a little creative here if you want something a little bit more extravagant than a simple weapon. So with like, if you play as like a half elf or human, you get the civil militia here, giving you access to pikes, halberds, glaives, and spears, which is what we'll end up using here. So that actually we can use a weapon skill if we want to use the weapon. And if you're playing as a Gith, you get longsword, so you can use Fowler or Louvre there. Yeah, you got to get a little creative, or just use a staff. Honestly, Marka Heshka is probably the best, giving you chain lightning and also lightning charges on your spells, but with this, I also have the Boots of Stormy Clamor. If you get the Lithid ability drain, you're going to be able to stack up Reverberation easily. Same with the Gloves of the Belligerent Skies, as we're going to be dealing thunder, lightning damage, so this will stack up Reverberation. Further supporting us, as we're kind of like a support class. These are also accessible in Act 1. Once you get the Armor of Agility, that's going to be your best in slot, giving you 27 armor class. Quite nice, adding our full dexterity modifier to it. If you don't have that, the Unwanted Masterwork Scale Mail is great too, and also resistance of fire damage from that. Earlier on in the game, the On-T in Act 2, and whatever your best available medium armor is in Act 1, with the Adamantine Scale Mail being the best if you could get it in Act 1. Cloak Protection, just increase your armor class. The Helmet of Arcane Acuity will help us with landing our spells. Some of them are tricky, like this one's a strength save with Avalanche, so this can help you with making sure that you're going to be able to land those. You can also use like the Hood of the Weave there, or even like the Mask of Soul Perception, or the Mask of Soul Perception there to get your bonus to attack rolls. Now, we can get the Ring of Mental Inhibition, so this is one of the subclass features that you can get, which makes it so that the target gets the Mental Fatigue for 1 turn. This ring gives 2 turns, so this is better. Ring of Protection, Amulet of Greater Health. We can't use the bow, but we're going to use the Hellrider Longbow, because it gives you a +3 to your initiative. And then again, Sharp Spear of the Evening, if you got it, or the, I guess the other one. Whatever weapon you can actually use. I wanted to use an Irona, but I don't have the weapon proficiencies for it. So, yeah, you could use something like a Dagger to Cold Snap. Pretty fun. Belm, even. You can't use the Knife of the Undermounted King, unfortunately, because it's counted as a short sword, which we don't have proficiency for. So, Marka Heshka, I guess, or whatever your race weapons are. I'm going to be using the Sharp Spear of the Evening, but you could also use the Salune's Spear of Night. All right, so we want to bring in our Cambium before we get into combat. The trick here is to use our large reaching Raging Storm here, 12d4. We can sometimes get a lot of targets hit with this. We're able to hit 4 targets with this, so we'll go ahead here with blasting that there. That's enough to take out all 4 enemies. It's perfect. So that's exactly what you want to do. Sometimes it's just about luck getting that lined up well. The Cacophony there having that huge area of effect too, doing a 12d4, or Avalanche doing 12d6 but at a smaller radius. So one of the nice things is these are kind of balanced depending on what type of size the attack will do. Mind Crush can be pretty nice because you can actually slow a target for up to 4 turns. Actually kind of nuts. We also have the Shove Down, which can be pretty fun. I love shoving attacks because that's a 70% chance to take out an enemy as a bonus action, and we succeeded, successfully taking them out of the fight. That's really nice. If you can pull that off anytime, it's really good to do that. Now we want to daze targets up to 4 turns, so we're going to drop the Cacophony right there, and we were able to daze 2 of them and Reverberation on 1 of them. This actually applied Reverberation to all. Daze them for 4 turns, which is nuts, so that means that our Cleric can then land Hold Person and not have to worry because they'll have disadvantage on the saves. And since we got the cameo, we may as well use it. So the Ray of Fire there, potentially do it. If we would have landed 3 of those, that would have been nice, but they never land their shots. We also have our Cataclysm spell, which is 12d4 of force and fire damage, but it'll also damage ourselves. This is fine though, because we are going to take out 3 enemies with us, so we'll take that. We only took out 2, but that's fine. It also doesn't hit our teammates since we have that other ability there. And I always look for the kind of fireball-like attacks that you can drop. Sometimes you can get lucky with that. Daze 2 of them there, so that's pretty good. I can't run up and shove them, but I guess you can go bully someone else with the shove action. It's kind of funny. I like being able to use this to shove someone off of a ledge, but yeah, it's kind of funny. All right, we knocked him on the ground. Surely we won't miss with our flaming throw Scorching Rays there. Oh, missed 2 again. Hey, we got lucky here. They ended up moving into somewhat of a line, which is great because then that allows us to blast away with this attack here. And that took out all of them. This one didn't get taken out. That's unfortunate. So we do have some more powerful single target ones. I like being able to slow a target. So with this, he'll take double psychic damage because we're close with the resonance stones at 74. That's pretty good. Now, I guess for the last one, we also again have our invoke elemental resistance. I put piercing damage resistance on because there's a lot of bow attackers around here. I want to try and get a little sneaky shove in, but typically it doesn't work that well when there's multiple enemies or allies around, so we shove them there. Alright, surely this won't miss. They have 18 health. Let's see if we can get the finisher. We got a 22 critical hit. That's crazy. So yeah, that is the Invoker class. What I like most about it is these spells scale really nicely. They provide reliable damage, as the mod creator even said themselves. They're not overpowered. This is a class it's strong in certain aspects, but it's more so like a support class, and it's a lot of fun being able to slow a target for 4 turns or daze them. You got a lot of great options when it comes to fighting. So let me know your thoughts in the comments. Hit the subscribe button below if you enjoyed. We'll catch y'all in the next video.